YouTube? I am this guy, and I'm going to be bringing you guys a video of the pros and cons for the game ending procedures that came out a few days ago. I'm definitely going to be watching the clock more often, more closely now, because that's going to be key in here now, being able to time out your time, when to slow your roll when you're doing your plays, when to speed up. That's going to be real important. I think it's going to be the battle of time, basically, who can basically manage their time better and what kind of boards you can build at the same time. So basically, time managing, if you basically can break their board, and let's say there's 12 minutes, you don't want to go into the next game, then you're basically going to slowly do your plays, think about your plays that you really don't have to think about. You don't want your opponent to know that what you're going to do right away. You're basically going to sit there for a few minutes and think about what you're going to do, even though you know what you're going to do. If you are going to lose and you do want to go into that game 3, you don't want to give your opponent too much time. I was going against a pendulum player, and I was basically using, this was like the perfect matchup for me to see where the game would be at by the time the match ended. I timed it to where his game 3, it was 1 apiece, and it was his first turn, and we went into time. At that point, I would have won. I wouldn't have won, but it would have been a draw. I wouldn't have had to take that loss. Yeah, and the tiebreakers are going to be real difficult, I believe. That's going to be the thing that I would like to know, is how they're going to manage tiebreakers here. I know it's by win percentages and your opponent's win percentages. Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how they do tiebreakers. They need to, I think they need to really identify where standby starts and ends. Same with draw phase. I understand draw phase, it starts when you draw a card, but when does it end? Because if time is called and someone said draw phase, then it's basically, so once you go into standby, you basically life points, and then who wins and loses, or is it a draw? I think they should have been more specific about that. That's gonna be real, a real pain in the booty when it's time and then someone is like, oh, standby phase, and then they announce standby phase, and then it goes into time, and then you go to main phase, and then the game's over. I think that what they should have identified was main phase 1, and then you got your main phase 1 to do something, and then it's game. Them saying just simple, at the end of the phase that you're in, game's over, because you got 5 different phases, so 5, yeah. And end phase is basically end phase, so it's like you don't even get a turn if you're in your end phase and time's called. So it's like, oh, end phase, and then someone yells time, and then it's like, that sucks. You don't even get a turn now because end phase is over and time is called. So, like I said, that's where I think a lot of that's where the problem's going to lie with them saying that. It would be, where does phases start and end? We already know main phase 1s and battle phases, but I'm talking about the shorter phases that exist, but it's so short. It's like we're going to be real difficult to determine when it started, when it ended. Rounds will not last forever. Tournaments will not last all morning, day, and night. That's a real big thing for me. Them addressing that is, it's good to see. As I said before, and I'll say it again, they could have done a lot better. Definitely could have done things differently, which I will explain later in this video. But that's the biggest pro out of this, is the rounds won't last forever. Tournaments won't last forever. And at least they're trying to address it. I'm giving them some credit here. I'm giving Konami credit here. They're trying. Will people's decks change due to this? I believe it will. I believe a lot of players are going to strive away from certain decks due to the fact that this exists now. A lot of combo-based decks, I think, are going to keep, but X combo-based decks are basically 1 minute, 2 minute turns. I think people are going to strive away from those decks. Like my deck, for example, if I'm playing Altergeist is a combo-based deck, so I mean, I can easily use that deck in this with this procedures here. But decks like Dinos, True Dragos, Monarchs, other decks that are basically, it doesn't take a lot of time to build your board. I don't think they're going to strive off of this as much as other decks like Pendulum Magicians, Alter Guys, Gokis. I will throw Gokis in here. So Gokis is sort of a combo-based deck, and you can strive off of taking your time on building your boards with Gokis. But yeah, I definitely think people are going to start changing their decks because of this procedures, and that's why. Because you want to be able to control the pace of the game, and with combo-based decks and decks that people won't call you out on slow playing, will definitely be beneficial here. So combo-based decks, I think, are going to take like a big rise here. Will this change the way I play the game? Yes. I think this will change a lot of players' ways of playing the game. You're not going to go in there recklessly and be aggressive. If you're about aggressive play, you probably don't want to be aggressive too much, because you need to be, like I said, time managing is going to be really important now. So you're going to need to be able to know when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. So you can't just go in there and blow out your opponent like game one and give your opponent time to, either stall you out or, try to make it a draw, because you want that win. So, like I said, you got to be able to manage your time here. My game style and the way I play the game will change a little, just for the time management factor here. I'm a defensive player. Most of my decks are defensive, so I don't want to be too defensive, but I also want to be able to defend. So being able to know when to defend, when not to defend is going to be key. Now it's like if it goes into time, I can be defensive and win like throughout. Now I don't have that luxury of, oh well, I got this in the bag, I just got to defend like now. Once time's called, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a lot different. Which decks will rise and fall due to this? Yeah, I think the biggest deck that can thrive off of this is Ritual Beast. Ritual Beast is that deck where it hasn't seen competitive play at all. Ritual Beast is that deck where they can really thrive off of this game, take games because of this. So I would definitely look out for that deck. And if players are still on the fence on what deck to build, look into Ritual Beast. Now that would have been a deck I definitely would have threw in my list that I made earlier this month. If I knew this was coming out, I definitely would throw Ritual Beast in that mix, because Ritual Beast can thrive off of this. Any combo base, like I said earlier, any combo base that can thrive off of this. So Pendulum Magicians, everyone thought they were dead because of, Astrograph being banned and everything. No, the deck's not going to be as competitive. Well, now I think this will make them competitive again, just because of the simple fact they can take outrageously long turns. They have so many combo pieces, and you don't even know if they're trying to slow play you or not, because they have so many ways of playing that they do need time to think. You got to respect that. You got to respect them enough to say, hey, you got to give this guy time to think, because this deck just has so much it can do, and you got to be able to plan ahead with that deck. So they can't slow play you without you even knowing, which is difficult. It's real difficult to judge if someone's trying to slow play with that deck or not. The example I had was last weekend at my regionals that I went to. First weekend of the new ban list. This following weekend I went to. I did go up against a Pendulum player, and his first turn literally was like almost 25, 30 minutes long. It was bad. It was real bad. It wasn't 30. It was like 15, 20 minutes, his first turn, and it was ridiculous. I was like, oh my god. And I did use this this match as like me saying, okay, well, if the time procedures was in play right now, would I be able to walk out of this with a win, loss, or draw? And the verdict was I would have walked out here with a draw, because I timed it to where I had him turn one and time was called, because I knew he was going to take forever and a day to make his turn one board. So I basically gave him only like 5 minutes to make his turn one board, and he wasn't going to be able to do it. I knew that. So I basically slow played in game 2, knowing I had the game 1. I didn't blow him out because I didn't want him to quit like right away. I wanted him to quit like at a certain point. And once I did blow his board out, then he finally surrendered. because I was just dragging it out at that point because I wanted that game to last forever because I didn't want to lose. So basically, that's how, like I said, that's how I'm going to be playing. If I know I have the game 1 and game 2, and I lost game 1, then I'm going to drag game 2 out. Does this explain the Train Strike hit that was such a surprise to people on the ban list? I think it does. Chain Strike is just an unfair card now. In this, once this comes out, Chain Strike is just going to be unfair because it's basically, you know, the last like second of the match, and you chain like a bunch of cards together just to play the cards, and then Chain Strike, they take damage, and then you win. Yeah, I understand why probably Chain Strike got hit now. This explains it. To me, it explains it. I understand now why they hit it. Everyone was like, you know, on the theory of, you know, why Chain Burn's going to be good or whatever. No, well, yeah, I guess Chain Burn will be good because of this. But this explains a lot, though. This explains a lot about that hit. So, or to me it does. To me it does. Because, like I said, Chain Strike is unfair now with this out. So they need to either ban it or hit it to 1. I think I probably would have won 1 anyways, because you want it late game. Overall, it's just healthy for the game. I would say it is healthy for the game for what they're trying to do. I don't think they will keep this forever. I think they might tweak it just a little bit, try to get it just right. I think players are going to complain enough to them to where they might change it a little. Things I think they should do better to this procedure itself. I think they should definitely keep the once time limit is done, then game's over. I think they should just get rid of the whatever phase you're in, the game's over, because there's just so much so much conflict with that. Main phase 1, battle phase, your main phase 2, those 3 main phases, we understand where it starts and we understand where it ends. Where we don't understand where it starts and ends is like your standby phase, your draw phase, and your end phase. Your 6 phases. 3 we understand, 3 we don't. They need to clarify what those other 3 are. When does it start? When does it end? I think once they do that, then we'll have a better understanding of this ruling here. What I would have done better was definitely probably time limit change. I would change the time limit. I think that's that's not the major issue here, but I do like the 3 turns each. I give, so luck doesn't really involve in the game, and people don't really get to troll you much, and people don't get to still wins, because I think a lot of people get still wins because of this. Definitely would just probably just change the time limit here. Time turns. This one is kind of sketchy because it's really hard to determine how long someone takes to do unless you have like a stopwatch or something. But I mean, stopwatches can be altered to where even though I took like a 2-minute turn, you can say I took a 4-minute turn, and there's no proof unless Konami incorporates a way to have they invented something for us to use, so we would have to buy it for the game, or it came with a starter deck where it kept track of time for us, like an Hourglass or something to keep track of time for us. And then regardless of life points, they should have just said it's a draw, so it doesn't encourage players to like I said, sandbag a game, or they're trying to walk out of there with a draw. Yeah, I think that would have been the better call here. Regardless where you're at the game, it's a draw once the time's up. If you're not done, that would encourage players to actually speed up their game sometimes. What they also could have done was probably give each player 1 turn. Instead of just saying, "Oh, it's over," it's over. I mean, I understand that that doesn't really shorten the rounds a little, but giving them 2 less turns, I guess, wouldn't make it as long. But it is fair to the other players to give them 1 more turn to do something. Anyways, yeah, that's it for my video. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed my video. If you guys did, please hit the like button. If you guys haven't already done it, subscribe to my channel. Also, hit the notifications so you guys get notified every time I upload a video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of these game ending procedures. Like I said, a lot of people don't like it. I'm just here to try to give you guys some clarity of why Konami did it. We got to be, I mean, like I said, I'm giving them some credit here. They're trying to make tournaments not as long. I'm sure you don't want to sit at a tournament for like 8 hours. That's it. I will talk to you guys later, and you guys have a wonderful day. All right.